Good morning. This morning I will talk about myself and my working. A long time working local NGO in Vietnam and in Thừa Thiên Huế, Quảng Nam provinces. This morning I will share all information about me, about my life, about my job, about my working. And now that it rains very hard in the north province, flooding in central Vietnam, it raining. And this morning I will talk about myself, my job, and my vision, my dreams. I hope every organization about now about me. Uh, because my English only not good, and I will practice day by day, step by step. And this video, my purpose practice, and I hope everyone help me about vocabulary, about conservations for my like high level. I'm start. I will talk four talk about myself. The first, I will introduction about an early life. The part two, community work for and forest connections. Because my work like community and forest in Thừa Thiên Huế and Quảng Nam province, and I will have one part about this. The part three, public policy, community health and teaching. I think this is very important because very long time working with community and local NGO. I think public policy very important because uh, because evidence very important. But how can use evidence to help to support for a stakeholder and to government local NGO only a little, and I will talk about this. The part four, I will share about personal life, international links, and future vision. The first, introduce about myself. Hello, my name Minh Đến Den. I am 35 years old, and right now I'm pursue a master degree in environment and sustainable development. And now I'm studying master public policy in Phun Rai, Vietnam, in Ho Chi Minh City. But if you really want to understand who I am, I would not begin with my academic title or my age. I would begin with the story of a child who grew up surrounded by the forests, rivers, and mountains of central Vietnam. A child who learned from an early age that life is deeply connected to the land and to the people who share it. Today, when I look at myself, I see a man who works with communities, who studies public policy, and who teach others. But beneath all those roles is a simple truth. I am someone who believes that nature, culture, and human well-being cannot be separated. That belief is what guides my life, and it is rooted in my earliest memories. I was born in central region of Vietnam, a place both beautiful and challenged. If you have ever visited the provinces along the Trung Mountain range, you will uh, you will know what I mean. On one side, there is the endless ocean, with fishing village clinging to the shore. On the other side, there are dense forests, alive with birds, butterflies, and the weak power of ancient trees. Between them are the rice paddies, the small villages, and the winding rivers that give life to our communities. Grow up here mean living with extremes. Summers were hot and humid, the kind of heat that pushes you into rivers and streams for rely. Then from August to December the rain comes, and now it rains. Heavy unrelenting rains that flooded fields with raw homes and forces families to adapt and endure. For some, there's a natural cycle where only hardships. But for me as a child, they were also teachers. They taught me uh, uh, resilience. They taught me to notice how people, plants, and animals found ways to survive together, and they gave me a sense of awe for the natural system that shaped our lives. My family was like many others, hardworking, practiced, and deeply connected to the land. When I was small, my parents would tell me stories about the mountain rivers and the spirits of the forest, where there just where there were not just tablets to entertain children. They were ways of teaching respect for winter, respect for trees, respect for life. Even now, when I work with communities on conservation or policy, I carry those stories with me. And I want to share to you about responsibility. I remember on rainy season when a flood came rushing around our town. It destroyed part of the local school and swept away crops. I remember 2017, uh, my hometown in Vạn Thắng, commune Vạn Ninh district, Khánh Hòa province. Now, my park, my home destroyed by storm. Oh, I'm very very sad, and I uh, asked some people, some people from government help, but not good, not successful. I'm very very sad, and I asked why our part, our home destroyed. Why have? And I think I need study public policy because this is important for poor people. I was only a boy then, but the memories stay with me. Not just the destructions, but the way people respond. Neighbor help neighbors. I think this. When flooding, when storm, I only remember neighbors help neighbors. Strangers share food and shelter. In the face of disaster, community became stronger. In central Vietnam, central provinces, always happen some storm, fruit, heavy, hot. Yeah, and neighbors help neighbors. Communities help communities. Local people help local people. That's one of the first time I understand that community really mean not just people living near each other, but people supporting each other, building resiliency. Together, it plant a in me the idea that I wanted to spend my life working to strong communities to help them during not just service. As I grew older, I began to see the challenges we faced were not just about weather or poverty. They were connected to legal system, government decisions, policy, and the voice the shock were managed. I didn't have the language for it then. But now I work on it public policy. Even as a young man, I could see how decisions made far away in Hanoi or even in foreign capitals shape the daily lives of people in small village in Vietnam or Da Nang city. Education became my way of exploring their question. I was always curious, why do some communities have better access to clean water than others? Why do some children have the opportunities to study while others must leave school to work? Why do certain voice get here in decision making? Well, why others are silenced? There was a drop me to our work study the environment, development, and later public policy. But my education has never been only in classroom. My real learning has come from conservation with farmers, with women trying to support their families, with children who dream of better schools, and with leaders who carry the memory of forests and traditions. One of the most formative experiences of my youth was meeting members of the cultural ethnic community in Vietnam province. They lie in the forest and they have a deep knowledge of biodiversity, wildlife, and plants. To them, a forest is not just tree; it is a home, a provider and guardian. The Therefore, their story about the Saula and Red Etothrop, a live species sometimes called the Asian unicorn, uh, fascinated me. But what struck me most was their sense of responsibility. Protecting the forest was not just about economies or resource. It was about eating identity, culture, and survival. Those encounters have my path. They taught me that conservation cannot success without culture. Development cannot success without community. In my 20s, uh, I began to put their lesson into practice. I have organized local clubs for children where education was not only about textbooks uh, but also about learning values, teamwork, and care for the environment. I support women's groups, helping them build skills and find opportunities to improve their lives. There were small steps, but they matter. Every child who gained confidence, every woman who felt more empowered, was a sign that change was possible. At the same time, I began to think about bigger picture. Community projects can do a lot, but they also need support from both policies, institutions, and systems. If the government invests in renewable energy, local people can benefit from job and clean power. If the government protects forest, community can preserve their culture and livelihoods. If migration policies are fair, family can move safely in a sort of better communities, of better uh, opportunities. I start to realize that my journey would always have two sides. the grassroots and the policy level. I want to move between them to ask as a bridge to listen the local voice and bring them into the policy discussions and to take policy ideas and make them real in the lives of communities. When I looking back now at my early life, I see clearly how those experiences preparing me for who I am today. Then the floods that started our resiliency, the forest that inspired my respect, the communities that taught me solidarity, 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 that taught me solidarity. There's were my first classrooms. They gave me a vision of a future where development is not measured only in economic terms but in well-being, justice, and sustainability. That is the person I bring into my master study today. Not just a study as a student of environment and sustainable development, but a man carrying the voice of community, the lesson of forest, and the dream of a healthier, more sustainable Vietnam. Man, more sustainable for community and more sustainable to local community, to ethnic people in Vietnam. Thank you. And I will talk about next topic related community work and forest connection. Wow, it rain. Uh, Session 2, I will talk about community work and forest connection. When people ask me what kind of work I do, I usually say that I work with communities, but those work with communities, I mean more than a job description. For me, they are a philosophy of life. They reflect the belief that the change does not come from individuals acting alone or from governments making policy in distant office. Real change comes when people come together, share their knowledge, and create solutions that reflect power, their needs and their values. Uh, One of the earliest initiative was with children. I have always believed that if you want to build a better future, you must start with the youngest generation. In many villages of central Vietnam, children face difficult realities. Some are pressured to leave school early to help their families. Others struggle become because their schools are underfunded or because teachers are workers. But when I look into the eyes of their children, the eye of their children, I see uh, enormous potential, creativity, resiliency, curiosity. That is why I start helping to organize children's clubs. Their clubs were not simply about tutoring or extra lessons. They were safe space where kids uh, could learn, explore, and dream. We organize activities like rowing competitions about the environment, storytelling, circles about local traditions and small projects like planting trees or clean up rivers or renewable energy. They might seem like simple activities, but they gave children something important, a sense of pride and belonging. I remember one boy who was very shy and at first he had sport in two group, always sitting in the corner. But after a few weeks of the storytelling activity, he began to share story he had heard hit from his grandfather about the forest. His voice was quiet at first, but every week it grew stronger. By the end of the year, he was one of the most active participants, leading others in songs and games. That, that transformation was not just about confidence, it was about realizing that his voice mattered. And that is the heart of community development, having people see the value of their own voice. And how can empower women? Another focus of my work has been with women in very rural and indigenous communities in Vietnam. Women carry a heavy burden. They are responsible for child care, family cooking, and often income generation. Yet their voice are too often exclu- excluded from decision making. For me, empower women is not only about fairness; it is about unlocking their potential of half the community that has too often been silenced. I work with women's group to provide training sessions on small business development, sustainable agricultural techniques, or even public speaking skills. Sometimes there's sessions where very practical. How to set up a small saving groups, how to market local products, how to use new tools in farming. All the times they were about confidence, reminding women that their knowledge and experience are valuable. One of the most moving moments of for me was during a workshop in a village near the forest of Vietnam province and Thượng Hồ province. A woman stood up and said, "For years I ran my job was only to follow me. My husband follow the rules, follow traditions. But now I see that I can also lead. I can teach my daughters to lead." Those words remind me why this work is so necessary. Empowering one woman can empower an entire family and from there an entire community. My connection to community has always been intertwined with my connection to the forest of central Vietnam, including Vietnam province, are more than a landscape. They are living system full of meaning, culture, and life. They are home to species, uh, species like the saula to count countless birds and fertilize to plants that have been used in traditional medicine for generation. They also home to communities like to culture people who see the forest not just as a resort uh, re, uh, resource, but as a service partner in life. Working with the culture people has been one of the most transformative experiences of my journey. I have learned from them that conservation is not about protecting biodiversity. It's about protect culture, identity, and community values. When the cultural people speak of the forest, they speak of ancestor, of beliefs, and stories passed down for generation. They remind me that sustainability is not only a uh, scientific idea but also a cultural practice. Culture practice very important because when you working with the ethnic people, you need understand about culture of local communities. One project that is brought me with was a community lead forest battle. Instead of waiting for outside rangers to protect their forest, the culture organized their one groups to monitor illegal logging and hunting. Logging and hunting. They combine traditional knowledge of the land with modern tools like GPS and smartphones. What impressed me most were the pride they took in this work. It was not just about stop logging. It was about affirming their grew as guardians of the forest. I have always tried to connect culture with conservation in my work. For example, in workshops with local youth, I often encourage them to collect traditional songs, stories, and rituals that are linked to the forest. These cultural practices are not only important for identity, they also carry ecological knowledge. A song about planting rice teacher patience and respect for the soil. A ritual for the forest spirits reminds people of the need to hunt sustainably by integrating their traditions into more modern conservation efforts. We must process more uh, meaningful and sustainable. People are not just how protect the forest because it is good for the climate. They remind protect the forest because it is part of the who you are. That message is far more powerful. Of course, this war is not easy. There are challenge economic issue that push family to uh, cut down trees. Corruption that allow illegal logging to continue. Climate change that makes natural disaster worse. Sometimes even within communities there are conflicts between short-term needs and long-term sustainability. I have also faced moments of frustration when officials misuse funds or when projects decide to have communities and opinion leak in way that I know their voice. Their challenge remind me why it is so important to bridge the gap between community work and public policy. Without supporting policy, community efforts can be limited, but without community voice, policy are often ineffective, uh, in, ineffective, or you ineffective or unjust. Despite their challenge, I remain hopeful. I have seen too many moments of resiliency, and creativity to looks fair. I have seen children grow into leaders. I have seen women find their voice. I have seen communities stand up for their forests. Their small steps matter because they add up to Lego chain. Every time a child learns to plant a tree, every time a woman starts a small business, every time a community patrol its forest, we are moving close to a more sustainable future. And I believe that their stories, when shared, can inspire others, both in Vietnam and around the world. My work with community and forest has shaped me into the person I am today. It has given me a deep sense of responsibility, not only to my own country but to the planet. I, I continue my master's study public policy in Vietnam. I carry with me the voice of the children, women, and community I have working with. They remind me that sustainability is not just an academic concept. It's in life every day in how people share, how they adapt, how they protect what they love. And so my journey continues. The forest still calls me as a teacher and as a partner. The community still inspires me as guide and as a friend. Together they remind me why I choose the path to have a pure future where environment, culture and community agree together. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's bad. Yeah, this morning it burning. And next session I will talk about public policy, community health and teaching. This session we will talk together my work here. And I think share some of the information about public policies, community health, especially with children, outdoor worker, and community health. When you think about community health, maybe you think about hospital or medicine, but not enough. This is now this is evolve fee about protection fee, yeah, about nutrition, about share information about policy for rich people and poor people, yeah, uh, policy urban and rural, policy for elderly people, yeah. And I think community health very long and wide. When I first when I first began working with communities, I thought local action was enough. I believe that if we organize children's club, support women and protect forests, then change would naturally naturally follow. And in many ways, that is true. Local action matters deeply. But as I gained more experience, I began to see the limit. I began to see how the lives of people in small village are shaped. by decisions made in the city office, in national ministries, even in international organizations. That uh, realizations is what led me to study public policy, because if we want communities to live, we need not only grassroots initiatives, but also support system. Policy can either empower or disempower. They can either give a communities resource or take, take them away. And for me, the split between community and policy become one of the most important parts of my journey. When I moved to Ho Chi Minh City to study public policy at Phun Rang, Vietnam, I was stepping into a new world. Ho Chi Minh City is a vibrant, crowded, full of energy and construction designs. On one street, you can see luxury skyscrapers. On the next, families stroke line to meet and meet. Is a city that left power opportunities and the inequalities of modern Vietnam. In my class, I learned about governance, policy, design, and international relations. But short, as important were the discussion with class matter and mentors. We debate climate change, strategies, energy transitions, and the challenge of migration. We extend case study from Vietnam and from around the world. And uh, Slowly I began to see how to local issue I care about, like forest in Vietnam province or women in rural villages were connected to nation and global system. One of the biggest lessons I learned is that policy is not abstract. It's like a decision about renewable energy investment in Hanoi. I first job in Da Nang city. A regulation about migration at first family moved from central province to the highlands. A budget decision about education determines whether children in rural areas will have enough teacher or not. Among uh, among on the areas of policy, renewable energy and climate change are especially close to my heart. Vietnam is at a crossroads. Uh, on the one hand, the country is experiencing rapid economic growth and rising energy demand. On the other hand, it faces several climate risks: rising sea levels in Mekong Delta, stronger typhoon in central provinces, and increasing heat waves in city, especially big city like as Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh, Da Nang, Cần Thơ. For me, renewable energy is not just about technology. It's about just it's about ensuring that communities are not left behind. I have studied how American and Korean companies are investing in solar and wind projects in Vietnam. Their investment bring opportunities, but they also raise question who benefits. Do local people gain job and training? Are the project designed with respect for the environment and for communities? As I look for the future, I want to be part of the conversation about how Vietnam transitions to clean energy in a way uh, in a way that is fair and sustainable. That means bringing community voice into the debate, making sure policy are not only written on uh, paper but feel in people's lives. And now I will talk about migration and community change. Another area that has captured my attention is migration. Vietnam has always been a country of movement. Families move from the north to the south for jobs. Since 1975, many, including my own, moved from Central Province to Highland to farm coffee or other crops. And now climate change is forcing people to move again. Coastal erosion, floods, and storm are forcing families in provinces like Thừa Thiên Huế, Quảng Nam relocate to cities such as Đà Nẵng. Migration is not only about economics, it is also about identity, community, and belonging. I have seen how migration can create opportunities, better job education for children, but also challenges such as overcrowded schools, pressure on housing, and loss of cultures. For me, study in migration policy is part of my broader commitment to community well-being. I want to understand how governments can support migrants with dignity, how urban planning can respond to population change, how communities can remain resilient even as families move. And next, uh, talk about community health, a broader vision. When people hear the phrase community health, they often think only of hospital or doctor, but for me, community health is much broader. It's about the condition that allow people to live well. It's about the conditions that allow people to live well. What live well? It's about clean water, safe housing, nutritious food, mental well-being, and social support. It's about creating environments where children can learn without hunger, where women can walk without fear, and where elders can pass on traditions without being left behind. In Vietnam, community health is deep tied to the environment. When forests are destroyed, flooding woods and families lost their crops. When rivers are polluted, children get sick. When cities uh, are not planted with green space, stress and heat take a toll on people's health. I believe that policy must treat health not only as a medical issue but a community issue. A healthy community is one where social bonds are strong, where resources are shared, and where people feel a sense of belonging. That is why my work in community development, environment, and education is also its core work with community health. Alongside my work in policy and community, there is another identity I carry proudly, that of a teacher. For several years, I have been studying English intensively, preparing myself to become a high school teacher. I have already been giving private tutoring sessions to students of different age, and around this, I have discovered the joy of teaching. Teaching for me is not only about grammar or vocabulary, it's about empowerment. When a student learn English, they are not just learning a language, they are gaining access to knowledge, opportunities, and confidence. They are connecting with the world. I imagine myself in the classroom of a high school guiding students not only through English lesson but also through discussion about sustainability, culture, and global issues. I want my students to see education not as a burden, as a door to possibilities. One of the things I love most about teaching is is the way it mirror community work. Just as I try to empowerment to find their voice, I try to empower students to see theirs. Just as I encourage community to value their tradition. I encourage a student to see their value in their one ideas. Empower a rules. My job is not to give a answer, but their great space where people can discover their own strength. And now I will talk about one key: community-based learning. Community-based very important with me. And if you working with local community, you need understand, you need power, and you always use community based, because this is culture, this is knowledge, and this is policy. One of the approach I am especially excited about is community based learning. I believe that education should not be limited to classroom. Students should learn from their surroundings, from their families, and from local communities. For example, I have been developing ideas for projects that connect students with agriculture and tourism in their one region. A grass could work with local farmers to learn about sustainable farming methods. Students could design a small ecotourism project in collaboration with a village, learning not only about economics but also about culture and environment stewardship. Community-based learning has a double benefits. It gives a student practice experience and a sense of responsibility, and it strengthens the link between schools and community, reminding everyone that education is a shared journey. In recent years, I have been thinking about how university and school can integrate uh, integrate sustainability into their curriculum. It is not enough to have one or two class about climate change. Sustainability should be part of culture and of the campus. That means design green campus with solar panels, waste management system, and green space. It means involving students in projects that address the community challenge. It means that encouraging research that connected environment, energy, tourism, and agriculture. I believe that education is one of the most powerful tools. We have to address climate change and promote sustainable development. And as power student and a future teacher, I want to be part of this movement. As I reflect on my journey into public policy, community health, and teaching, I see how all these reconnect. They are not separate area. They are part of the same vision. When I work on policy, I think of communities. When I work with community, I think of health. When I teach, I think sustainability. Yeah, community health, sustainability, related public policy. Its rules fit into the other, and together they form the picture of who I am: a community worker, a policy thinker, a teacher, and a person committed to building a healthier, more sustainable world. Thank you so much. And the final session, I will talk about personal life, international link, future vision. Behind every project, workshop, or policy initiative. I have been part of their very simple foundation, family, community, and personal values. I am not just a professional working in community development and public policy. I'm also a parent, a neighbor, and someone who works like the everyday realities that many of people I serve face. My personal journey has always been deeply intertwined with the communities around me. Growing up Central Vietnam, I witnessed firsthand, firsthand how local people like in close relationships with nature, especially forests, rivers, and farmland. For, for many families, the environment is not an abstract concept. It is through real culture and future. This emotion connection made me understand early on that development must always go hand in hand with sustainability and respect for community traditions. At home, my family is my enjoy cooking meals together, spending time with my children, or simply sharing stories in the evening keeps me grounded. There, there's moments remind me why community health, education, and well-being matters so much. I am not advocating for attack beneficiaries. I am working for people like my children, my neighbors, my elders. Realize that this dignity, dignity and opportunity. Living in small towns and big cities like Ho Chi Minh City and Da Nang City has also set me that contrast between urban and rural life may me see the gaps clearly. Access to education, healthcare, opportunities, and even clearing. There's personal experience gave me empathy, but also motivation. If we can bridge these gap, communities can truly. My values there are simple but powerful. Integrity, inclusiveness, and hope. Integrity means standing against misconduct or corruption, even when it is difficult. Inclusiveness means making sure women, children, and marginalized voices are always part of the conversations. And hope means believing that change draws around and changing is always possible. While my roles in Vietnam, my work has increasing connected with me with international colleagues, organizations, and ideas. These links have prodded my vision and deep need my understand how local challenges are tied to local global ones. For example, my engagement with colleagues from Timor-Leste 2025 is more than just a cultural exchange. It's a learning journey. When I taking them to Vietnam to visit to communities and the solar conservation area, it will be about sharing about also about listening. What lessons to their communities have about uh, re- resilience, about managing forests, about keeping traditions, while adapt to change. Their kinds of exchange uh, show me that solutions are really one way. Instead, they come from dialogue, mutual respect, and shared experience. Similarly, my upcoming meeting with UK colleagues in November 2024 on biodiversity conservation in Vietnam highlights how conservation is global concern. International partners often bring technical expertise, research methods, or policy tools but local communities bring knowledge of the land, culture, and traditions. My rule is often to be a bridge, have been ensured that international support strengths rather than replace local voice. In my study and professional growth, I have also looked to international organizations for in, uh, in inspiration from GIZ renewable energy programs into Vietnam to WWF biodiversity project to American and Korea investment in solar and wind energy. I have observed how global actors engage with Vietnam. Some efforts are highly successful, while others need a better adaptation to the local context. Their experience have taught me to always ask, does this work for the people on the ground? If the answer is yes, then international collaboration can be powerful. If not, then it risks become just another top-down project. Public policy studies in Ho Chi Minh City has also explored me to comparative perspective migration in Vietnam visual American community held in rural visual urban setting and different approach to renewable energy. Their insight keep reminding me that Vietnam does not exist in isolation. Migration due to climate change in 13 of Vietnam province ensure story from other countries facing rising seas, drought or extreme weather. Uh, we are part of the shared global structure. Looking ahead, my vision um, ambitious but ground deep. It comes from the yes of science that was what does and what community try to need. For myself, I want to keep growing as a connector. I see my role as someone who moves between space, between communities, and both and policy makers, between local people and international organizations, between research and action. This bridge role is not easy, but it's where I feel most useful. Over the next 10 years, I hope to strengthen my academic style, uh, deepen my practice of work, and perhaps take on leadership roles where I can set bigger conversation around sustainability and equity. For my community, I envision the first children with strong education opportunities, not just in books, but in creativity, critical thinking, and global awareness. Education should prepare them for the world they will inherit. A world shaped by climate change, digital technology, and interconnect techniques. The second, woman empowered with skills and confidence. Apple, Apple able to run business practice in decision making and create a sustainable livelihood when women drill entry communities drill. The third, communities leading their one development, especially around forest, agriculture, and tourism. I don't believe in project done for people. I believe projects. I don't believe in projects done for projects. I believe in projects done with people. Number four, healthier community, where both physical and mental health are prioritized. This include access to clean water, nutritious food, good health care, but also safe space, cultural pride, and emotional well-being, and ending a sustainable balance between nature and economy. Forest should not just be uh, seen as a humble to cut or land to clear. They are weather shore, climate buffers, and cultural heritage. Tourism should not destroy communities; it should lift them. Uh, Agriculture should not just be about it should be about soil, ecosystem, and long-term survival. At the national and global level, I want to see Vietnam become a model for community-led sustainable development. We already have excellent community-based tourism in ethnic minority areas, grassroots conservation efforts, innovative renewable energy projects. If there can be scale, Vietnam can inspire others. Personally, my dream is to keep building bridge between Vietnam and the world, broad exchange, partnership, and shared research between past and future by honoring traditional while embracing innovation between people and nature, so that development never comes at the cost of our forests, rivers, or biodiversity. And culture very important, and community based learning, hope, and challenge. Of course, visions are not achieved without obstacles. I am very aware of the challenge. The first, corruption or misconduct in project can undermine trust and vice result. I have seen this up close, and I know how painful it is for communities who lost hope. The second, climate change is uh, accelerating faster than policy can adapt. Floodings, drought, and storm will test the uh, resilient alliances of Vietnam and its people. The third, migration ratio will continue with people move from rural to urban areas or from coastal to island provinces.